Okay, you screwed up. You broke the trust. Something happened in your relationship that made everything go sideways, and now there's no trust. I'm going to help you get back on track and figure out how to rebuild the trust in your relationship, because no relationship can survive without trust. Before I get into it, please hit like and subscribe. Share this with someone you think may help. And stick to the end because there's some tough stuff coming up. So it doesn't matter what you did or what someone did to break the trust in your relationship. It could be any number of things. It could be something like, you spent money that you didn't admit to spending, that you didn't have, that maybe came out of an account that you weren't supposed to be pulling on. It may be that you went behind your partner's back and did something that was not really very nice. It was kind of shady. It may be that you were talking about them to your best friend or your mother or your sister or somebody, and they felt like the trust had been betrayed. Or it could be something really serious like having an extramarital affair, or doing things like promising that you're never going to use pornography again, and yet you're using pornography pretty regularly. All kinds of things can happen in our relationship to destroy trust. And the fact that you're listening to me now tells me that you already know something about that. And the reality is that you think, the trust is broken. I will never be able to trust again. The trust is broken. They will never trust me again. Then, why are we even doing this? Let's just give up. Let's just pull the plug. Or you live with this constant distrust, and it is destroying your chance at happiness, your chance of enjoying each other. And it doesn't have to be that way. Believe me, you can rebuild the trust. But here's some hard truths about that. First and foremost, if you want to rebuild trust, you have to be absolutely honest about everything. There can't be any secrets left. I might make an exception for, I'm buying you a gift and I don't want you to know. I want to surprise you with that gift. But that's just about it in terms of being able to keep a secret. Everything else, you need to be an absolute open book. If you are hiding something, your partner will know. Your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, they will know. Even if they don't know what it is, people have an intuitive sense that something is being held back. And so you can't hold anything back. One of the things that a lot of people will do is you're entitled to your own thoughts. You shouldn't have to share every thought you have. But if somebody comes up and says, "What's wrong?" and you say nothing, sorry, that's not going to get you anywhere, because we know, your partner knows on some level that something's wrong. They sense something is different, something is off. And so they may not know what it is, but they know that there is something. And for you to say nothing is just going to reinforce the fact that the belief that they can't trust you. So your response is, something's bothering me, but I'm not ready to talk about it right now. Or it might be, I don't know, I guess I just went to my nothing box. I really don't know what I was thinking about. I was just blanked out. Or I don't know. I'm not aware that I'm acting weird, but what am I doing that's making you think that? So you flesh out, you figure out what's going on, what kind of messages are you sending that's making them think that there is something. But you have to talk about it. You can't just get away with saying, oh, nothing's bothering me, when clearly something may be bothering you. So you have to be honest. You cannot keep doing the things that you were doing that were creating the distrust. You have to absolutely be aware of that. Now, a lot of times people aren't aware of the things that they do that are sending those messages. And that's, again, another reason that you need to ask questions. So if somebody is asking you what's going on, then you can ask questions about what is it that I'm doing that's making you think something's going on. And then you can listen and you can correct. Again, it's about being transparent, not trying to hide anything. I said you have to be really honest. You have to be transparent. You have to make sure that you are not doing the things that broke the trust in the first place. And that is also very difficult. If you have gotten into a habit of doing something that you know your partner doesn't like, and you don't want to quit doing it, and yet you've promised that you would quit doing it, whatever that is, then you got a problem. You have to absolutely be willing to do whatever it takes to rebuild the trust. And if that means you need to keep your phone open so that they can look at it, if it means that you need to let them listen in on whatever conversations that you're having, that might have to take place for a while. I don't encourage that for either party. I really don't. But sometimes in the very beginning of rebuilding the trust, it's going to take that. Now, I talk about being absolutely honest and transparent and being willing. This is another one. And being willing to be questioned, to be patient. Because you know what? If you did something to break the trust, then you really haven't earned that trust yet. And so you're going to have to be patient while that trust is being reestablished. So that means that they ask you questions, you answer them as truthfully as possible. Now, I'm going to add a caveat in here. There are some things that I don't think you should answer questions about. For example, if there was an affair, you do not, please do not answer questions about the details. And if you're the person who's asking the questions about the details, the reason I don't want you to do that is because I don't want you to have those thoughts planted in your brain forever and ever. If somebody has cheated on you, if they screwed around, they had an affair, you do not want to know the details. I promise you. They will not make your life any better. There is absolutely nothing that you can hear that's going to make you feel better. It's not going to make you trust more. The one thing that makes it really hard, because if somebody has had, if you know, if you've been cheated on, you want to know all of those things. You tend to ask the questions about where and when and what and how, and no answer is going to make it any better. It's not going to make you feel a bit better. You're going to have to decide if you want to forgive. And I did a video on forgiveness and after surviving an affair. But you have to decide if you want to forgive and if you want to rebuild the trust. And I said, you know, there's a part of this where it's really hard. It's hard for the person who has to reestablish trust. If I've done something to break the trust, If I spent too much money, I have to show you my credit card receipts. I have to show you my bank statements, whatever. If that was the break of the trust. If I have been talking to people about things that were personal that I shouldn't have been sharing, then I might have to be willing to let you look at my phone or, monitor that for a little bit. Again, I don't recommend that, but I might have to be patient with that for a while. The things that I have to do to rebuild the trust are going to be hard. But I'm going to tell you what's even harder. It's for the person whose trust was broken. And this is, hold on to your seat. For the person whose trust was broken, you have to act as though you trust. You have to stop asking all of those questions. You have to start acting as though you believe. And I've heard people say, oh, I don't want to be made a fool of. No, of course not. No, you don't. My answer to that is that when you work to act as though you trust is when the trust really starts to get rebuilt. You start listening with your heart and you start really wanting to believe them. I mean, you can always pack up your bags and leave later if you really think that you've been made a fool of. But if you want to rebuild the trust, you have to act as though you trust. You have to act as though you believe. That's what it means to let go and move forward. If you are constantly checking their phone, their conversations, their emails, their whatever it is that they're doing, their mileage or their location, if you're constantly checking on them, you're just driving yourself nuts and you're not doing anything to rebuild the trust. And tell me that's not fair. I know it's not. It's not fair. But if you want to rebuild the trust, that's what you have to do. And when both of you are working together to rebuild the trust is when things start falling back into place. Imagine, if you will, I'm going to go to the child analogy. A kid has done, your child has done something to break the trust. Does that mean you can never let them out of your sight again? No, you have to give them the opportunity to screw up again. You have to act as though you trust. You set some parameters, you set some guidelines, you act as though you trust, and send them off. If they're lying again, you will know. You really will. But you have to have what I call incontrovertible evidence. And believe me, that always comes out. You can't make accusations based on your fear, on your mistrust. You might have that, but you have to act as though you trust. I know that's hard. I didn't say it was easy. But I promise you, when you are both working to reestablish the trust, you're both doing your part to reestablish the trust, it will come back and you will have a better foundation than ever before. I've heard it said many times that people don't feel safe in their relationships. It's because they don't trust. If I'm afraid to say something because you might bite my head off. You might yell and scream at me. You might throw things, break things. Or maybe not. Maybe you'll just get mad and I don't want you to be mad at me. And I don't feel safe because I'm afraid you're going to criticize me or tear me down because I made a mistake. And again, that means that we all have to practice patience and kindness and goodness and gentleness. We have to practice those things to have a safe relationship with each other, and that we can have the trust that we're going to be okay. We can screw up. We can make a mistake. And that we can be forgiven. And it's only in building a really safe relationship based on honesty and respect that we can really build trust. And again, like as I said in the beginning, you can't have a good, strong, lasting, satisfying relationship without trust. Okay, guys, hang in there. It's going to get better, I promise. All right, catch you next time.